Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Kakashi gives Naruto his Sharingan, part 2, hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. I call it Dragon Slayer Chakra. It's from a story I read once about a small group of people able to envelop themselves in elemental chakra, in order to fight against dragons when they existed. This is a Lightning Slayer style, I'm still working on a Fire Slayer, and a Wind Slayer style. Check this out, he opened Inari's window, and then breathed in, and released a stream of white lightning. You know Hoko lightning dragons roar, isn't it cool? It turns different parts of the body into dragons. Or that's the idea at least. And it costs almost no chakra, it doesn't need hand seals, and it gives might to Jutsu some serious kickass power. Inari's eyes were bigger than it should be humanly possible, there truly was hope for waves still. After that they talked about their lives in general, and about what they had experienced. Hours passed, and they would have kept on going were it not for the tsunami. Inari. Naruto-kun, dinner's ready. She called from the kitchen. They made their way downstairs to find a most amusing scene before them. Tazuna was obviously drunk, and was hitting on Kurenai, and failing badly. Tsunami was repeatedly hitting her father with a spoon. Kurenai was trying to ignore Tazuna while reading a book. Hinata and Kiba kept looking at each other, completely forgetting everything around them. Shino was sitting at a window communicating with his Kakeju. And trying to find new insects for his ever-growing hive. Akamaru was playing with one of Inari's hats, and apparently found it to be an endless hat of enjoyment. Naruto whistled. Wow, what happened here? I leave for a few hours, and suddenly the whole place is coming down. He asked teasingly. And what's with those two looking seconds away from sucking each other's faces off? He continued, as he gestured towards Kiba and Hinata, both of which blushed a bright red. Inari couldn't help, but burst out laughing at the comments. Everyone instantly noticed the change in Inari's mood and demeanor. Tazuna was wide-eyed. He managed to get Inari to smile again. This boy gets more and more amazing with each passing minute. Tsunami was also overjoyed. My little boy is smiling again. Thank you Naruto, truly thank you. Yosh. Eating time. Man, I'm hungry. It's surprising how taxing it is to go around being a miracle worker, he said with a grin that everyone else mirrored. That night was the most joyous and happy one Tazuna and his family had had in a long time. Afterwards they went to bed with the 3 males sharing a room, and the 2 females sharing a room with Tsunami. The next day, after grabbing some breakfast, teammate minus Sensei had gone off to train, as she had accompanied Tazuna to the city to buy groceries. Alright, line up. This training is gonna be grueling, it's gonna be harsh, and most of all it's gonna make you wish you'd never become shinobi. But when it's over you'll be that much stronger. So, any of you wanna back out? Naruto asked, as he looked them over. Receiving nothing but determined glares. Well, it was kinda hard to tell with Shino, but they had learned to read his facial expressions quite well, he continued. Okay. All of you will be training your clan to perfection. I'm gonna come back in 4 hours, and if you haven't perfect your choice by the time I get back, there will be no dinner, and you will sleep outside. Now get to it. And with that he shunted away, leaving 3 very determined genin. Naruto arrived at a clearing a couple of miles away, as he hurriedly scouted the area for enemy shinobi or anyone not meant to see his training. When he found none, he started working on some of his new work. While he did this he created 500 shadow clones to train his chakra control. He also created another 500 who instantly started going through katas for his Shakudo. And then he worked himself into the ground. 4 hours later he returned to find his teammates lying on the ground, bruised and panting, and visibly exhausted. Alright. Let's see what you've been working on. They showed him what they had been working on. The KAIT and Heavenly Spin for Hinata, the GATSUGA Dual Piercing Fang for Kiba and Akamaru, and the MUSHIDAMA Insect Sphere for Shino. Naruto made a mental note on finding out how the Kaiten worked. If he could combine it with his Dragon Slayer style, he could emit a continuous dome of electricity or fire, and win for that sake. Afterwards they went home, had dinner, and then went straight to bed. This process continued itself over the week, as Naruto and Kurenai took shifts guarding Tazuna on the bridge. One evening Naruto went out for some late-night training, and fell asleep in a small clearing. Naruto frowned, as something pulled him from his sleep. Sharpening his senses he could feel a presence next to him. The presence was not someone he knew, it was however a shinobi. As he could tell from his chakra sensing, an ability he had developed that allowed him to tell stuff from a person's chakra. The chakra seemed familiar, but he couldn't place his finger on it. That was until he heard the low rustling of the presence giving off a metallic sound. He knew that sound all too well, Senbin, which meant this was Abuse's little hunter-nin friend. Deciding to play innocent and unknowing he opened his eyes, and met a couple of hazel brown eyes in the middle of a beautiful face. Yawn, morning, something I can help you with? He asked cheerfully with a smile that the person mirrored. Good morning mister, I was just wondering what you were doing sleeping in a forest. It seems kinda strange if you ask me, if the person answered in a feminine voice that had a hint of masculinity. Just so this won't get awkward later on. Are you a man or a woman? Naruto asked with a sheepish smile. The person laughed. I'm a guy, thanks for asking though, many mate passes at me without knowing it. I'm Haku by the way. Naruto laughed with him. The name's Naruto. Nice to meet you. So what are you doing in the forest all by yourself? Seems kinda lonely, he asked curiously. I'm looking for herbs. I need to make some healing salves. A friend of mine got hurt badly in an incident, and I wanted to help him. Haku said. Naruto noticed that he sounded very happy when he spoke of this person, whom Naruto figured was Abusa. He filed it away for later. May I help? I need to stretch my body anyways. He asked, wishing to learn more about this Haku person. Haku seemed truly happy that Naruto wanted to help him, and eagerly nodded. That would be an amazing help, Haku said, as he showed Naruto the herb he needed. Then they proceeded to search for the herbs while talking about their lives, each only giving up information that wasn't compromising. After about an hour, Haku decided they had found enough herbs for one lifetime. Naruto-kun, do you have anyone precious to you? Someone that you want to protect? No matter the cost? Haku inquired, as he looked at his newfound friend enemy. Naruto nodded, as he lay down on the grass at the clearing. Yeah, I do. My teammates, the few people in Konoha that didn't treat me like trash, and the people of Wave, he said fondly. If they treat you so badly, then why do you continue to fight for Konoha? Haku couldn't understand why someone that had been treated worse than the lowest of low criminals by his village would still be loyal to it. Naruto had told him about the horrible treatment he had gotten. Well, as I said, I have some precious people that I want to protect there also. My mom, dad, and the person that was like a big brother to me died defending Konoha, therefore I would put shame on their names. Were I to abandon the village, I decided I would become the best ninja in Konoha's history, that I would become a Hokage that surpassed all others, and that my village would recognize me. He stopped to let the words sink in with Haku. What about you, Haku-kun? Do you have anyone precious to you? He asked the boy he had found to be very kind-hearted despite being Zabuza's partner. I am indeed a man who saved me when I was alone. He fed me, clothed me, and trained me to become strong. That person is like a father to me, and I would gladly give my life for him, Haku said with conviction. Naruto froze Haku completely, and Zabuza's relationship was exactly like his and Kakashi. They had both been saved from loneliness and death. Well, I better get back to my team, they're probably beginning to worry. Maybe I'll see you some other time, Haku-kun, and be careful of Gato's thugs. That bastard has his goons spread out all over Wave. Haku smiled at his protectiveness. I'll definitely be careful, you too. And with that they walked their own ways. Just before they were out of hearing, Naruto yelled at him. Something that made his blood run cold, something that surprised him greatly, and something that made him wonder why Naruto hadn't killed him. One more thing, say hi to Zabu-chan for me, will you? And wish him a fast recovery. And with that he shunshed it away. Haku couldn't help but smile, as he walked towards the base where Zabuza was located. You could say a lot about Naruto, but the kid had style. Naruto appeared before Tazuna's house, and quietly made his way into the house, so as not to alert anyone. He had taken 2 steps inside when he was attacked by a black blur. The black blur that went by the name of Inari had his stomach in a tight grip and wasn't planning on letting go anytime soon. Where have you been? I was worried sick, you know. Your friends kept saying that you were fine, but I thought that maybe Gato had managed to make Inari cry out as he buried his head in Naruto's clothes. Naruto smiled at the boy and ruffled his hair. Don't worry, kiddo, remember? I promised I wouldn't die before becoming Hokage, right? He asked with a smile on his face that everyone mirrored. They hurriedly went to eat dinner and then talked till late at night. Naruto tiredly dragged himself up the stairs to his room and, after undressing, flopped down on his bed. He was asleep before his head hit the pillow. The next day, Naruto yawned loudly as the sun's rays hit his face and his hair, making it look like a beautiful flame freezing over. He cursed at the sun. Why was the sun even shining right now? The sun normally started shining in Wave at about 1300 hours. Then realization hit him like a ton of bricks. He had overslept very much. He hurriedly dressed and was about to charge down the stairs when he heard turmoil in the kitchen. It sounded like Tsunami screaming. His blood ran cold. Has something happened to her? He moved down the stairs, fast as a cheetah, quiet as a shadow. He glanced around the corner to find Inari standing in front of his mother, yelling at 2 bandits that had seemingly cut down the house wall, that he would protect his mother from anyone that wished to harm her. Naruto smiled. The brat had really grown up these past days. He shunshed silently, appearing right behind the 2 bandits, and effortlessly knocking them out with a chop to the back of the head. He smiled at Inari. You did it, Inari-kun. You protected your mom from Gato and his thugs. But now it's time to take the fight to Gato, wouldn't you say? Gather the villagers. If you want to be free from Gato's control, then you have to defeat him yourself. All right? He asked the young boy. Of course. I'm gonna rally the townspeople. It's time we take the fight too with that Inari. A Tsunami ran off to gather the townspeople, and Naruto took off his hit eye and fastened it around his neck loosely. His Sharingan spun into action. Now it's time to test this new ability I discovered. I shall call it Shunpo Flash Steps, the technique that made Uchiha Shisui known as Shunshin no Shisui, Shisui of the body flicker, the fastest technique in the world, impossible to copy and impossible to track. I'm quite lucky that these were the eyes I received. And with that he disappeared in a soft swoosh. Meanwhile at the tool shed, I mean the bridge. Imaginary cake to anyone that knows where that line is from. Team 7 and Tazuna had arrived at the bridge only to find the bridge builders lying around on the bridge in heaps, many of them dangerously bordering on mortal wounds. Kurenai rushed to the nearest man. What in the world happened here? How did all of you end up like this? She asked the man, blood oozing from the wound on his chest, as he hooked up bile and blood. Demon. He breathed out, as he succumbed to his wounds. Kurenai cursed shit. What the hell? Only then did she realize that the whole area had become bathed in a suffocating mist. Kiba, Shino, and Hinata hurriedly stacked up in front of Tazuna as the mist approached. Kiba sniffed the air and cursed loudly. Shit. This mist is laced with the smell of chakra. It's the same as back at Zabuza. Relax. Stick together, and don't let Tazuna-san out of your sight. Remember, we might be dealing with his partner as well. Kurenai instructed as she went into professional mode. The three genin nodded and readied themselves for combat. With a small cry of Byakugan, Hinata's eyes bulged as veins appeared on the side. Shino sent his bugs out to scout, and Kiba threw Akamaru's soldier pill. Nice try, brats, but you'll never be ready enough to face me. A voice rang out as the mist shifted and then slowly disappeared, revealing Zabuza and his accomplice. Zabuza-sama, did you notice something different about those three? The masked person asked. Indeed I did. It seems they've become quite a lot stronger since last time. Still, they shouldn't be a problem, Nahaku. The masked boy, now known as Haku, nodded, and then he and Zabuza charged the group. You three take Zabuza's little friend. I'll take Zabuza, Kurenai shouted as she charged Zabuza. You think you can win? This time your orange-headed brat isn't here. Zabuza yelled as he grabbed his Zanbato and swung at Kurenai, who deftly dodged and went for a strike at his gut with the kunai. He grabbed her by the wrist and swung her into the air. And then down into the ground with enough force to crack the ground. He smiled only for Kurenai to crack and sprout vines from everywhere. They quickly grabbed and bound Zabuza, immobilizing him. Suddenly Kurenai appeared behind him with the kunai at his neck. Demonic illusion. Hell's suffocating vine technique. She announced her technique as she prepared to strike Zabuza down. I hate illusions, Zabuza said as he realized what happened. Kurenai smiled. I get that a lot, and with that she struck. With the genin. Kiba, Shino, and Hinata were hard-pressed against Haku, who made good use of his superior speed to beat them to bits. Please, just give up and hand over to Tazuna-san. I don't want to hurt you more than necessary. Haku pleaded with the Konoha shinobi. Like hell we will. Kiba sneered. We'll leave ninja never back down and never give up. That's what Taicho taught us, he said with conviction, the two others nodding their agreement. Very well, then I'll steal my heart and end your lives. Please don't hate me for this. He flung a barrage of senbon at the three genin who tried to move, only to find that they couldn't move, courtesy of the water at their feet solidifying and grabbing their legs. What the hell? Ice. Don't tell me this guy is a bloodline user, Kiba exclaimed. Shino used his Kakeichu to absorb and disperse the chakra at his feet and charged at Haku, engaging him in a Taijutsu match while trying to suck Haku's chakra dry with several Kakeichu-based moves. Hinata used her Jiken to disperse the chakra in the ice at hers and Kiba's feet, and they too joined the battle, using their superior teamwork to slowly overpower their foe. Haku jumped back, making some distance, and then used one hand to go through hand seals, while he used the other to throw senbon at the team, who frantically dodged. Demonic ice crystal mirrors. Ice formed around them, as 21 mirrors of ice surrounded them. Haku quickly melted with one of the ice mirrors, and threw them at them, which quickly turned to 50. Kiba acted fast, and pushed Tazuna out of the dome just as it closed around them, and then hailed down on them. They managed to dodge all the fatal areas, but they were still horribly beaten up. Haku launched the last aim directly at Kiba, as his eyes widened. Kiba. Hinata screamed with her lungs full power, as she watched the man she loved about to die. Shino sped towards Kiba as fast as he could, but to everyone he was almost painfully slow, as they came closer and closer. Kiba closed his eyes and sent his final regards to his family, then he tilted his head and smiled at Hinata while he whispered, "Sorry, Hinata." And then he closed his eyes, awaiting the inevitable. Only it never came. Kiba opened his eyes little by little, and then they sprung open, as he recognized the person who had snatched the senbon out of the air. "Naruto Taichu," Kiba exclaimed as he saw Naruto. Naruto turned his head and smiled at Kiba. "Yo, Kiba-kun, sorry I'm late. Would you mind going with Hinata and Shino to protect Tazuna-san? We don't know if there's any more enemies around here. I'll take care of these guys," Naruto asked, the smile never once leaving his face. "You got it. Be careful, Taicho. This guy can use ice somehow. I think he has a bloodline limit." Naruto's eye widened momentarily before returning to normal, a vicious smile playing on his lips. This might get interesting, yet now get out of here, Kiba. Kiba nodded, and hurriedly left along with the rest of teammate. Naruto turned his head towards the mirror in the upper right corner of the dome. You say we play a little, Nahaku-kun? He asked. Haku flinched inside his mirror. How did he know which mirror I was located in? Haku thought, as he faced a person he knew he would have to fight even though they had so much in common. Very well, Naruto-kun, let's play, and with that he threw a hail at Naruto, who only smiled, and dodged them all using his amazing speed. The barrage kept coming, and Naruto was getting annoyed. He charged, and with his sword, cut 3 mirrors in half with one move. Haku emerged from one of the shards, and would have moved to another had Naruto not caught him by the ankle, and smacked him down onto the bridge hard. Haku was about to merge with another mirror when lightning emerged all around Naruto's body. Chidori Nagashi 1000 Birds Current, the lightning spread out, and simultaneously pierced every mirror left. Haku was wide-eyed, his ultimate crushed so easily. Not even Zabuza had managed to do that in his training. How did you know? How did you catch me so easily, how? He yelled at Naruto, who just smiled back. When I destroyed the mirrors I heard you move, going by my sense of hearing I could easily track you. Haku was slack-jawed, he had used his hearing to defeat him. That was ridiculous. At once the two boys heard Kurenai scream, they instantly turned towards the noise, as the mist lifted revealing a horrifying sight. At the end of the bridge was Gato, and what seemed like hundreds of bandits ready to kill on order. Zabuza was pinned down, and couldn't move due to several chains that had been fastened to his limbs. Kurenai was being restrained by 6 bandits who all had a tight grip on her arms. So these are the brats that you can't even beat, Hamamachi. Pathetic. Kill him, and the brats, we'll have some fun with the 2 bitches from Konoha. One of the bandits raised his sword and swung down towards Zabuza's neck. It never reached. In its waist stood Haku, who had almost been cleaved from the shoulder and all the way down. Naruto's eyes widened and then narrowed in anger. The bandit lay headless not even a second later. Naruto sliced Zabuza's chains without even looking at him. He was glaring at Gato. For now we are allies, Zabuza-san. Why should I care? Haku was nothing but a tool to be used and then discarded. He said something, making his voice very heavy. Your face is telling another story than your voice, Zabuza-san, Naruto said, as he glanced at Zabuza. He, the terrifying demon of the mist, was crying like a child. Alright brat, let's give him hell. The 2 sword users charged, as Naruto appeared almost instantaneously by Kurenai's side, and decapitated the 6 men restraining her. Don't worry sensei, me, and Zabuza-san will take care of these guys. Please, get Hinata to tend to Haku. Kurenai nodded, and went off to search for Hinata with the young boy in her arms. She knew not to say anything, as she slowly shook with fear. She had never seen anything like this. Naruto's chakra was like that of a monster. He was very angry. The 2 ninja engaged the small army in a flurry of death and blood. It looked entrancing yet at the same time scary, like a beautiful monster about to eat you. Zabuza was clearly going for Gato, as he charged through the masses, not even glancing at them. He was completely obsessed with the death of this small man. Gato was getting more and more frightened by the minute. These guys were not human, it was simply not possible. His train of thought was cut short, as Zabuza suddenly appeared right in front of him. It's over, Gato. You'll regret ever messing with this demon. Let's see just how hellish, shall we? And with that he sliced Gato in 2 just, as Zabuza himself was stabbed several times by Gato's henchmen. Naruto's eyes widened. Zabuza-san. He sliced his way to Zabuza, who was silently bleeding out on the ground. Why are you okay? Hang on, I'll get you some medical treatment right away. He was stopped, as Zabuza grabbed his wrist. Brat, take my sword, and make sure it gets back to Kiryu. It was amazing foe, I would have lost anyways. Thank you for giving me this chance of revenge. Stay safe, alright kid. Tears piled up in Naruto's eye, as he accepted the broadsword from Zabuza, and sealed it away. Don't worry Zabuza-san, I'll make sure your final request gets honored. Zabuza smiled at the kind-hearted boy that had been his enemy only minutes before. One more thing, please bury me alongside Haku. Naruto couldn't reply, and only nodded at the request. He slowly picked up Zabuza, and walked towards the others, as the remaining bandits charged at him. Wind release. Great Demon Wall. A wall of wind knocked away all the bandits close to Naruto, and sent most of them into their allies. Suddenly an arrow hit the ground right before the bandit leader. Everyone followed the arrow only to see Inari with his crossbow, the whole town behind him roaring angrily. The bandits visibly paled. Oh, shit. Screw this. I'm out of here. One of the bandits screamed, as the rest followed his example, and fled like little girls. Wave's inhabitants cheered happily, as they were finally free from their oppressor. Naruto said nothing, as he reached his team, and Haku, who was being healed by Hinata. It was however clear that he wouldn't make it. Naruto laid Zabuza down beside Haku, as he spoke. Sorry Haku, he's gone, I tried, but there were so many. I'm truly sorry, Naruto said, his voice laced with sadness at his failure. It's not your fault, Naruto-kun. At least I get to be with Zabuza-sama at the very end. Tell me, Naruto-kun, what will you do now? Haku asked, as he looked at Naruto. I'm gonna become stronger. I'm gonna become so strong that I'll be able to always protect my village. I'm gonna become the strongest ninja ever so I can face you and Zabuza in the next life without being ashamed. Naruto said, as lightning crackled in his eye. Haku smiled a true smile and placed his hand on Naruto's chest. Then I want you to have my power. Take it and protect your precious persons. And with that he pumped all of his chakra directly into Naruto. Naruto screamed as ice appeared and formed in the shape of a dragon that coiled itself around Naruto before entering his right palm and disappearing. Naruto fell unconscious. What the hell did you do to Naruto Taichu? Kiba roared as he glared at the dying boy. Haku smiled as he shifted his gaze onto Kiba. I gave it to him. The power of my clan Naruto-kun has inherited the power of the great ice dragon Hyorin. He is now the last ice wielder in the world, and with that Haku passed away. 1 week later, Naruto and the rest of Team 8 were standing on the now finished bridge as they said their goodbyes. It had been 1 week since the fight at the bridge, 6 days since they had buried Zabuza, and Haku 5 days since Naruto had woken up to discover that he now wielded the ice release bloodline limit. It had been 4 days since he had started training with his new power. It had been 3 days since he had discovered he had lost his fire affinity and gained a water affinity. It had been 2 days since he had learned that he could manipulate water out of air, thereby meaning he didn't need water to use his water and ice release. This was an ability that only the second Hokage was known to have. It had been 1 day since he had used the ice release power to create the most badass ice side in history, and had started working on a water and ice dragon slayer style. Since all his hard work on a fire style was now thrown out the window, he had cursed Haku at this. Well, I guess this is goodbye for now, Kurenai spoke, as she watched her team say their goodbyes. Naruto ruffled Inari's hair. See you some other time, kid. Don't forget to eat your vegetables if you want to be strong like me, alright? He said with a huge smile that Inari mirrored. Of course. I'll surpass you in no time, Naruto Naisen. Naruto smiled and shook Tazuna's hand as the old man repeatedly thanked him. He then took Tsunami's hand and placed kisses up her arm. I miss you, Tsunami-chan, every living second. I'm way out, yearn for your touch. Tsunami blushed a bright scarlet from his words. He would have gone on, but Hinata grabbed him by the collar and dragged him off as everyone laughed at the scene. Team 8 made their way back home. The Kiri Cage Tower. Meiturumi, the 5th Mizukage, was slack-jawed. Using a secret to see what her spies saw, she had just witnessed Momochi Zabuza, one of the 7 swordsmen feared all over the elemental countries, being thoroughly owned by a Konoha genin, and a handsome one at that. Sharingan no Naruto-ha. How utterly delicious, as she thought with a blush on her face. Naruto stood at the top of an earth spike protruding from the ground. Down below was a large amount of trees, easily enough to cover a medium-sized town. Above him the lightning roared as it arched across the sky, and rain fell seemingly endlessly. Naruto raised a hand as lightning sparked to life around it, sending a lightning bolt into the sky. It soon erupted in bright light, as a demon head appeared followed by its upper body. It let out a thundering roar that dwarfed all other sounds. Naruto closed his hand with his index and middle finger extended, and then brought his hand down, as he whispered silently. Disappear with the Thunder Kirin. And then the whole area erupted into a bright light. Naruto looked at his jutsu's effect and smiled before making his way home. Where his attack had connected with the earth was an enormous crater that had completely devastated the forest area and wiped everything out. Thanks for the food, old man. Naruto said cheerfully, as he finished his 5th bowl of ramen at Ichiraku. No matter how much Kakashi had tried to change Naruto's bad habits, he could never get the boy out of his ramen addiction. Tsuchi, the owner of the bar, smiled at his favorite customer. The kid and him went way back, and he loved Naruto like a son. Neither him nor his daughter Aim had ever seen Naruto as the demon, and they would always serve him food when no one else would. Ha! You're welcome, you little brat. But tell me, shouldn't you be with your team? Tsuchi asked, as he took the bowls and started cleaning them. Naruto smiled as he closed his eyes and extended his chakra, sensing the people around him. He noticed Konohamaru and his friends hiding around the corner watching him intently. Well, since we've just gotten back, we have some free time now that I think about it. The Chunin exams are coming up. Would be cool to become a Chunin so fast. Well, anyways, I think I'll go around Konoha for a bit. The weather is amazing. Naruto gave Tsuchi the money for the ramen and then headed out. All the way out to Konoha's graveyard, where he walked straight to the back where a humble gravestone was placed. You Kakashi Naisen. It's been a while since I was last here. I had a mission to wave. I met a lot of amazing people there, and I received a new power. The Chunin exams are coming up, I bet we'll get entered, Naruto whispered to the gravestone. For a long time he just stared at the grave, and then he spoke again. Well, I have to go now. See you, Kakanaisen. Naruto smiled sadly as he looked at the grave. He quickly manned himself up and turned around before sun shining to the graveyard entrance right in front of a brick wall with holes in it. Konohamaru-kun. That's kinda obvious, you know. Suddenly the brick wall exploded in a bright light, revealing Konohamaru with his two best friends Yuden and Mogi. All of them were on the ground coughing from the dust that the mini explosion had created. That was nothing but as expected by the person that I admire. So how have you been, Aniki? Konohamaru yelled as he got back up on his feet. Naruto's sweat dropped. He then smiled. I've been fine, Konohamaru-kun. How about you? He asked. That's when Konohamaru noticed it. You don't have your headband over your eye. I thought you had lost that eye. Konohamaru exclaimed loudly. Naruto winced at the loud voice. Geez, it's like talking to Sakura. Nope. It was more of a thing really, Naruto answered as he grabbed it and started chewing on it. Konohamaru looked at him like he was crazy. Oh my god. Aniki. You're eating metal. Aniki has finally gone crazy. Relax, Konohamaru-kun, and observe. Remember, a shinobi must look underneath the underneath. Naruto proclaimed as he picked at the edge of the and tore the metal off like paper, revealing a shaped chocolate. Konohamaru almost fainted from the awesomeness of what he had seen, and his friends weren't much better off. Wow. Hidden chocolate. But why? Naruto smiled at the question as anime tears poured from his eyes. Well, you see, Hinata-chan won't let me eat any more chocolate. She says it's bad for me, but that's total bull. I mean, how can something that tastes so sweet be bad for me? Naruto asked dramatically as Konohamaru nodded sagely. Yuden and Mogi just sighed at the two. It was funny how they had so much in common. Hey, Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to the voice and saw Sakura heading over towards him. He smiled. Even as she could be annoying, the two were good friends, and Sakura would always consult Naruto about her love problems with Sasuke. Yo, Sakura-chan. So how's it going with Sasuke-chan? He asked in his normal lazy voice with both his hands securely placed in his pockets. Sakura smiled at her brother-like figure. It's going really well. He started to talk more often with me. Maybe we can even eat together sometime soon, she said excitedly. Naruto smiled at her happiness. Naniki, don't tell me this girl is your girlfriend, Konohamaru asked obliviously. Naruto just stared at him long and hard before speaking. Seriously, Konohamaru-kun? Sakura. Dude, I'm single, not desperate. This earned Naruto a smack over the head from Sakura. And what exactly is that supposed to mean? She asked as a demonic aura rose from her body, making the four people look at her nervously. Nothing, Sakura-chan, I was just kidding really. Oh really, that's good, isn't it? Sakura continued as she scared the four. In the instant she started moving, Naruto shouted, "Run for your lives." And that they did. They dashed through the streets with the demonic Sakura just behind them mumbling incoherent things. Konohamaru gained speed and turned sharply around a corner, only for the sound of something colliding to resound through the streets. Naruto turned around the corner in time to see Konohamaru getting lifted into the air by his scarf by a guy with purple makeup on his face and what looked like pajamas with cat ears. Next to him was a beautiful blonde woman with her hair set up in 4 small ponytails and a huge fan on her back. She was wearing a black combat dress and was trying to calm down her partner. They both had Sunagaker headbands on. Naruto's gaze hardened when he saw that Konohamaru was getting strangled. I suggest you put down Konohamaru-kun before I do something you're gonna regret, Naruto said as he moved closer to the pajama guy. He noted offhandedly that he was a good few inches taller than both Sunanin. The pajama guy seemed pretty pissed off by his statement as he turned to glare at Naruto, only to recoil when he saw that Naruto's pupils had become slits. Who the hell do you think you are? He asked in an attempt to sound brave, but you could hear the fear in his voice. Naruto flashed him the crooked smile that made the blonde girl blush a bit. Suddenly Naruto was gone, and Konohamaru had left the pajama guy's grip. The Sunbin's eyes widened when they felt Naruto behind them with Konohamaru in his arms. They turned with amazing speed to face him, but the instant they made it all the way around he was behind them again, walking towards Sakura, Yuden, and Mogi. He sat Konohamaru down, and turned to face not the sun nuns, but the nearby tree. Please come down, miss, he said kindly. Sand formed in a little whirlwind, and then settled down revealing a beautiful girl. She had long red hair that reached her mid-back which was braided. Her face was cute, but still held an aura of something dangerous and sexy. Her eyes were seafoam green with seemingly no pupils, and she had black rings around her eyes like a tanuki. She had the kanji for love on her forehead. She was wearing full-length dark trousers, a long-sleeved red coat with a flaring hemline, and a purplish-gray vest same as ship-puting. Her body, despite obviously being at Naruto and Sakura's age, was quite enviable for any girl, and out of the corner of his eye, Naruto could see Sakura glancing at the redhead's bosom. Even so, she showed the same signs of malnourishment that Naruto also had. 6 years of starvation and living off trash had left irreversible damage to Naruto's body. Strange mother doesn't want me to kill you. Who are you, if I may inquire? The redhead spoke in monotone as she tilted her head and stared at Naruto. Naruto gave her a friendly smile back. The name's Haddock Naruto, nice to meet you, he said cheerfully. She nodded as she spoke. These are my siblings Kankuro and Tamari, my name is Sabaku no Gar. Only then did she notice that Kankuro had turned pale. Slowly he spoke. Haddock Naruto Sharingan no Naruto, the guy who single-handedly took down Mamachi Zabuza, the demon of the mist in A rank, bordering on S rank Nukenin. He also took down 100 trained mercenaries single-handedly. Holy shit. He looked at Naruto with only a small amount of fear, as it had been replaced with another emotion. Awe. Naruto smiled at the boy now identified as Kankuro. Do you know about me? I'm surprised didn't think word would spread as far as soon as this fast. Well anyways, Kankuro-kun, Tamari-san, Gar-chan, I really need to get going. See you at the Chunin exams now, Naruto said, as he smiled once again. He then turned and walked away with Sakura, Konohamaru, Yuden, and Mogi following. As Gar stared at Naruto's retreating back, she felt something weird. He felt similar to her, but he radiated power like no other being she'd ever met before. The vision flashed, as she suddenly stood in her mindscape looking up at a giant tanuki, which despite its special features looked strangely female. Suddenly the being morphed and shifted, turning into a beautiful woman. She had sandy blonde hair with blue streaks in it that went down to her lower back. She looked around 25, and had what people would describe as a killer body. She was garbed in a dark blue kimono that just barely covered her breasts, and stopped them from spilling out. She tilted her head, as she looked at her host's face. Gar-chan, what's wrong? You seem shaken. The answer she received was not what she expected. Shikaku-kasan, I just met a strange person. He's a Konoha shinobi. He felt like me, but he was ridiculously powerful. His chakra was cold like ice, yet it crackled like lightning. And when I tried to reach out to his chakra, it combusted into black flames. Shikaku frowned. She had never heard of such a unique chakra, and to be honest, it piqued her curiosity. It had to be someone special. And Gar said that he felt like her. Was he perhaps a Jinchuriki? She thought it over, and tried to remember who she had heard about that could have been sealed in a ninja from Konoha. She shook herself from her stupor, and closed her eyes, flashing through Gar's memories, finding the one with Naruto, and watching it from the point where he grabbed Konohamaru from Kankuro. To say she was surprised would be a huge understatement. This mortal was fast to the point of it just not being funny anymore. She had trouble following his movements, yet she could feel he was holding back quite a bit. There was something else that bothered her, as well. She could feel Tukeke Genkai from him. She tried feeling his chakra, and then she suddenly realized just who this was. Gar-chan. This kid is the container of Kyuubi Nai-sama, she exclaimed. Gar's eyes widened almost comically. Another Jinchuriki like her. Shikaku offhandedly noticed that he was quite handsome, then she noticed it some more, and then she started drooling, and blushing profusely. It was probably because of Gar's inexperience with boys that she hadn't yet noticed. Gar's sweat dropped, as she saw a blush spreading across her Baiji's face. Shikaku looked at Gar intently, as she spoke. Gar-chan, we need to have a little discussion about the concept of hot guys. Gar's sweat dropped some more. Kankuro and Tamari looked at their sister strangely. They knew she was talking to her Biju, but they had never seen her talking so peacefully. Shaking it off, they grabbed her, and led her back to the place they were currently staying at. Kurenai sighed, as she watched her best friend Anko devour plate after plate of dango with speed that she had only seen when Naruto got ramen. Anko noticed her friend's distress, and spoke up. What's wrong with Kur-chan? You seem to drift off a lot. Don't tell me you finally got a boyfriend. Kurenai almost showered Anko with her water. What? No. She blushed, and sputtered out her answer. Doesn't really seem very convincing to me, Kuri-chan. Anko said in a teasing sing-song voice. So who is it? I already told you, I don't have a boyfriend. Kurenai said, as she went back to eating her own plate of dango. Oh wait, Anko had already devoured that, as well. So who do you have a crush on? Anko continued with a sly grin. Kurenai was lost in thought, and answered before she could think her words through. Naruto-kun. It was like time froze. Kurenai's eyes widened, as she turned to look at Anko, who was smiling gleefully. In a blur, Kurenai knocked out Anko, and used a memory wipe on her, and then woke her up. What happened? And why does my head hurt? She asked, as she looked suspiciously at Kurenai, who put on her best innocent bystander face, and shook her head. I don't know, you just suddenly passed out. Kurenai smiled, and paid for the food, and then hurried away before Anko could ask her anything else. As she exited the dango stand, she heard a familiar voice call out to her. You look a tad flustered. She turned to face the person she saw as a brother. Hey Asuma, fancy meeting you here. Yeah, I was heading to the Barbec bar, and I'm going to enter my team in the Chunin exams. Heard, Guy and Yamato are planning to do the same. How's it going with your team, or should I say, with Naruto-kun? Asuma said the last thing with a smile. Asuma and Kurenai had been best friends since the academy, and were often together. Many misinterpreted this, and thought they were lovers. This couldn't get further from the truth. They were like siblings, and knew everything about each other. Sadly, this meant he also knew about her schoolgirl crush on Naruto. On the other end of Konoha, Naruto sneezed for what felt like the 10th time that day. Man, I must be popular. Be quiet. Kurenai blushed as she continued. Anyways, I'm also joining my team. This'll be an exciting exam, huh? She asked as she looked at the sky. It had been unusually peaceful as of late. Asuma smiled. Kinda sucks for your kids, huh? Having to face and get defeated by my team. Asuma asked cockily. His team was good, but it wasn't hard to guess who the strongest rookie team was. Kurenai smiled at him. Your kids are indeed good. Naruto-kun himself praised Nar and called him a genius, but my team is strong as well. Kurenai declared confidently. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to tell my team that I, completely randomly, and without regard for their safety, entered them into a contest that will most likely scar them for life or kill them. And then she left. Asuma stared after her. Isn't that breaking the fourth wall in a sense? Naruto said goodbye after finally prying Konohamaru off his leg and shunned to the bridge where his teammates were waiting only to sweat drop. Shino was in the process of burying Kiba violently in the ground with a shovel, and Hinata was desperately trying to stop Shino. What exactly happened here? Naruto asked as he got closer. Kiba here got his dog to urinate on my bugs. Shino spat with a great deal of anger in his normally emotionless voice. Naruto sighed. It was always like this, Kiba would do something extremely stupid, Shino would try to kill him, and Hinata would try to solve the problem. Naruto summoned some water and splashed all over Shino's bugs, and then used a low-level fire to dry them off. He then took a hold of Kiba and yanked him out of the ground much to his chagrin. Ouch, that hurts like a bitch. Be more careful, you Kiba whined, as he dusted himself off. It was your own fault Kiba-kun, stop whining about it. Naruto told him. Hinata shot Naruto a grateful look before checking over her boyfriend, and then lecturing him on proper behavior around other people. Thank you Taicho, for saving my poor bugs, Shino said gratefully. Naruto smiled at him, and then directed his attention to the other end of the bridge. So? What mission do we have today, sensei? He asked, as leaves started swirling, and then settled down revealing Kurenai. She smiled at them. You have today off, I only wanted to tell you that I have entered you in the Chunin exams. Sign these papers, and meet at classroom 301 at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Good luck. And with a smile that was directed more at Naruto than the others, she vanished. Naruto sighed, as he waved at the others. See you tomorrow I guess. He was answered by 3 simultaneous nods, and a bark. He shunned it away, and appeared at the market district right in front of Senkumo Ninja. He looked around, and then yawned before getting a very secretive look on his face. Reaching into his pocket he found and peeled off the metal to reveal the delicious chocolate. He happily munched on the chocolate until he suddenly had a sword to the neck. Following the blade he found himself looking at a girl at about his age with long blonde hair that was braided. She had black eyes, and she seemed very much like a cat. She also showed heavy signs of malnourishment. It didn't take a genius to find out that she too was a Jinchuriki. Who the hell are you? Nibi-chan seems quite rattled by your appearance. Naruto stared long and hard at her. I do get a lot of comments about my appearance, especially from girls, he said flirtatiously. Anyways, the name's Haddock Naruto, and yours? She kept staring at him even when she answered. My name is Nai Ujido. Naruto smiled at her. I see, well nice meeting you, Miss Nai Naruto said, as he moved to walk away only to find the blade poised at his throat again. Was there something I could help you with? He asked again with a smile. What are you? She asked in monotone. He seemed to think long and hard about it before answering completely seriously. A sugar addict. Ujido's face fainted. That's not what I meant. She yelled at him. He just smiled sheepishly and reached for something in his pocket. She tensed and readied herself for an attack only to face Fold again as he handed her a. Want some chocolate? He asked cheerfully. She took it reluctantly, peeled off the metal, and ate the chocolate. What? This is really good. She purred. He smiled. Well I must be off, Miss Nai, and then he turned and walked away. Fast as lightning, and before anyone could stop her, Ujido threw a kunai at his back, and not even a split second later, the very same kunai was pressed against her neck, and Naruto was standing behind her. What? How the hell? Too fast, too damn fast. Ujido thought. Her companions were stunned. Not even their master Kurabi was that fast, even when he used demon chakra. How the fuck? Who is this guy? The dark-skinned red-haired female thought. Her companion, also a dark-skinned person, but male with white hair was also stunned. Oh no. What if he moved so fast? He broke the sound barrier and created a temporal distortion. The fourth Kumonin, a fair-skinned blonde with ridiculously large breasts, was also shaken. He's faster than a demon-enhanced Kurabi-sensei, who would be able to do that. Who? Naruto smiled at Ujido as he handed her the kunai. You know you shouldn't throw dangerous pointy things at people, or at least not innocent people. But then, how do you know which people are innocent and which people aren't? I'm gonna have to think it over, Naruto said with a concentrated look as he walked off, leaving 4 confused Kumonin. Naruto kept walking without really looking and suddenly bumped into someone. He hurriedly apologized. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. "You okay?" he asked, as he pulled up the person he had accidentally knocked over. The person was female, and had short black hair, and pupil-less pink eyes. She was wearing a long red kimono with the sleeve on her right arm missing, as well as the bottom left side of the kimono, fishnet tights, and shorts over them. She took his hand, as he pulled her up, but instead of letting it go, she grasped it tightly, and examined him closer. "This guy, where have I seen him before? He seems awfully familiar for some reason." He smiled at her. "Is there something I can help you with, miss?" She smiled at him, as she came to her senses. "Kuretsuchi, my name is Kuretsuchi, and who might you be?" she asked, as she let go of his hand. "The name's Haddock Naruto." "Nice to meet you," Naruto answered cheerfully, and was then sent flying through the air, only to land perfectly like nothing had happened. "Miss Kuretsuchi, did I say something wrong?" His answer was an eerie smile. "You're the guy that beat Momochi's abuser, no? I'd like to see that strength for myself," she said, as she charged. Naruto did the only thing a guy his pride had just been challenged would do. He ran while screaming like a little girl. "I mean seriously, there's nothing as scary as an angry woman. I just lost all my female readers if I have any." Finally, after several hours of fleeing, Naruto made it back to the safety of his home. Just so we're clear, he lives in Kakashi's house, as he inherited all of Kakashi's belongings along with a small fortune. "I'm home," he yelled, even though he knew he wasn't getting an answer. As lazy as ever, he started cooking dinner. Amazing how the time flies by when you're running for your life. After dinner he went to bed. After all, he had a long day ahead of him. At the Inizuka household, Inizuka Hana laughed menacingly to herself as she looked at her work. "With this outfit, seducing Naruto will be easy." And then she mumbled to herself incoherently as she drooled, and a huge blush made its way onto her face. At Naruto's house, Naruto shivered as he laid in his bed. "I sense a disturbance in the force," he thought as he fell asleep, only to wake up and see one of his tenant's big red eyes staring at him. He stared back in what felt like hours until finally the eye blinked and Kyuubi roared in rage. "Why can I never beat you in this? You never blink at all. To be beaten by a mere human. How shameful." Naruto smiled at the giant demon fox. "Relax, Kyuubi-sama. You'll probably win one of these days. So, why did you call me here?" Naruto reassured the demon lord as he turned his attention to his tenant. "Easy for you to say. You always win. Anyways, I wanted to warn you about those two girls, Sabaku no Gar and Naiujido. Both of them are demon containers. If I'm right, they probably contain the Chibi and Nibi." Naruto looked at him suspiciously, and then a perverted smile made its way onto his face. "If those two demons like their hosts are female, then don't tell me you've." He trailed off as he grinned at the demon lord. Kyuubi deadpanned. "I should never have let you read those Icha books, should I? But seriously, we're like brothers and sisters." "I see, thanks for the heads up. Now I think you need some sleep as well, Kyuubi-sama. We have a long day tomorrow," Naruto said, as he slowly faded from his mindscape, leaving a fuming demon lord who instantly tried to figure out ways to win in their staring contest. At classroom 301 the following day, Naruto yawned lazily as he reached the classroom and noticed his team waiting. Raising a hand in a lazy greeting which was returned with much anxiety and nervousness, they went inside, only to be greeted by a huge crowd of Chunin hopefuls gathered around the door leading to the classroom. Two boys that looked quite a lot older than the rest were blocking it. They had knocked down a kid in a green spandex suit with bowl-cut hair. When Naruto saw this, a devious smile appeared on his face. "I see, good plan, Lee-kun. Now I know you might think us cruel, but this is for your own good. The Chunin exams are super hard, and every year people get killed. Not only that, it's seriously hard to pass. My friend and I have failed it 3 times already." One of the two said, as he looked at the Genins, and saw their faces of distraught and fear, and smiled to himself. His evil smile was lost when Naruto greeted him. "Yoizumo-chan, Katetsu-chan. You guys riling up the kids. Shame on you guys, and not only that, you even put up a genjutsu to fool us." Naruto smiled at the two disguised Chunin as they gawked at him. "Naruto, it's supposed to be a secret to test people to see who's worthy." They roared at him as he just stared blankly back at them. "Whoops," he said sheepishly as tick marks appeared on their faces. Wise as he was, Naruto decided to flee, and his team was right behind him. After they'd left the raging Chunin behind and had headed to the second floor, Naruto suddenly turned and kicked, only for his kick to impact with another leg and send the offender back down the hallway, revealing it to be the green-clad kid from before. Behind him stood a girl with her brown hair in 2 buns and a Chinese dress and a huge scroll strapped to her back. Beside her stood a beautiful girl with long brown hair wearing a traditional Hyuga robe. Her assets were like Hinata's, quite large, and that was even with the robe covering most of her bust. Her Byakugan held a tint of grey-purple. She was glaring slightly at Hinata. "Yo, Lee-kun. Long time no see," Naruto greeted the spandex-wearing boy as he took in the 3 people before him. His team looked surprised that he knew such a person. "Yosh. It's good to see you again, Naruto-kun. And to see your flames of youth burning brightly, as always." Lee exclaimed, making everyone's sweat drop. Likewise, Naruto said, as he tried finding an answer to the very energetic greeting. Fire seemed to ignite in Lee's eyes. Such a youthful greeting, Naruto-kun. Come. We must all hail youth. He screamed, as he ran around in circles. Naruto took a few steps back. Okay, I guess it's best not to get smitten by his craziness. Suddenly Lee stopped and looked back and forth between his team and Naruto's team, and then he started screaming again. Oh no. I have failed you guys, sensei. I have forgotten to introduce my teammates. Such unyouthfulness. I must be punished when the Chunin exams are over. The girl with the bun sighed and looked at her teammate while shaking her head. My name is Tenten, and this is Hyuga Niji, she said, as she pointed at the other Hyuga. The woman now identified as Niji shifted her gaze from Hinata to Naruto, and they stared at each other. Suddenly, Naruto remembered the time. Oh crap. We gotta get to the exams, he exclaimed, which woke the other up from their staring contests. Naruto waved to Team Guy before following his team to the place where the exams would be held. When they entered, they were instantly met with glares from about 150 genins, and Naruto easily recognized the Kumonin and the girl that had chased him all day long. In the corner he noticed the red-headed beauty from the sand, staring intensely at him. He smiled at her, and she hurriedly looked away. Well, I guess they'll let just about anyone in nowadays, the voice of one Uchiha Sasuke rang out. Naruto pretended he didn't hear him, but just stared at Sasuke's hair, then he whispered to Kippa. Did that duck's ass just talk to us? He asked, making Kippa, Hinata, and everyone in the vicinity laugh, even the stoic Shino cracked a smile. Sasuke's face turned all different kinds of colors before settling on an angry red. One day I'm gonna kill you, he said, as he glared at Naruto, to which Naruto just smiled kindly. Silly Sasuke-chan. That'd mean you were stronger than me. Sasuke glared once again. Behind him came Sakura and Sai. Sakura smiled at Naruto, and when their eyes met they went into LDTM, love discussion telepathy mode. How's it going with Sasuke-chan? It's going really well. We studied together before we came here. He said he wanted to be sure he was ready for anything. I know he just said it to get some alone time with me. The optimistic response came from Sakura. Naruto's sweat dropped. If that's what she wants to believe, he thought. He nodded to Sai, and then noticed the other rookie teams from their class heading towards him. They greeted each other, and started talking amongst themselves about what they had done since becoming genin. Suddenly they were approached by another Konoha genin. You know, you shouldn't be so loud. Everyone is a bit on edge at the moment. Sasuke glared at him. Who the hell are you? He asked rudely. The boy smiled disarmingly at him. My name is Ikushi Kabuto. I'm a Konoha genin like you. The exams are hard, and I just wanted to give you some advice. It's my 4th year here, you know. That's how hard it is. Most of the Konoha genin look surprised and frightened. Because you're my cute juniors, I'll help you out a bit. These are my nin info cards. I have information on everyone in this room, so ask away. Kabuto said, as he withdrew the cards and showed them. Sasuke decided to speak up. Haddock Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes in annoyance. Kabuto smiled as he glanced at Naruto. Here it is. He was about to reveal Naruto's stats when Naruto quickly cut through the card. Scary, because no one had noticed him move, draw or unsheath his sword. I believe I'll keep my abilities a secret just a little while longer, Kabuto-san, he said with a smile. Then he whispered into Kabuto's ear so only he could hear. Be careful, Snake-kun. You smell pretty bad. Oh, and give Orochi-chan my regards, would you? Kabuto paled visibly. One of the Iwanins scoffed, and along with his team he started pouring killer intent out towards the Konoha-nin. Sakura gasped, as the Kai rushed over them like a wave smothering them. The only ones who weren't affected were Naruto's team, and Sai. Sasuke was a bit shaken, but managed to hide it. Kibba chuckled slightly. This Kai is nothing compared to Zabuza's or Haku's. Naruto smiled in agreement. Now how about I show this guy what true Kai is? Naruto thought. And then he let loose hell on earth. All sounds were blocked out, as the air around Naruto warped and twisted. The Iowa team fell to their knees panting with huge beads of sweat pouring down their faces, as they looked at him in fear. Several other teams started panting and sweating. The Kumo team were shocked, as were the girl from yesterday, and the Sunanins. This was so different from the goofy carefree person they'd met yesterday. Amoy and Carrie were sweating, and Samui was panting. Yujito clutched her chest, as the Nibi screamed in fear and respect inside a cage. Yujito-chan. I was right. This level of Kai is terrifying, but it's still human, but I can feel the being resonating within him. He's a Jinchuriki, I don't know which, but it's strong. Yujito's eyes whitened almost comically. This guy is like me. She only ever knew one other person like her. That was her friend, Sensei Karabi. Kurisuchi smiled viciously, even as sweat poured down her face. She had been disappointed when she'd met him the other day. She had thought that it was a mistake, that someone must have lied about him beating Zabuza. But with Kai like this, it was insane. This'll be a fun exam. Bar smiled slightly psychotically as her sand danced around her feet, writhing and snaking as a dying animal. The chibi shook in her cage. It's this strangely familiar feeling. He's definitely Kyuubi Nai Samazuj Kriki, she concluded. Naruto's voice rang out cold and unforgiving. What? I hope this isn't the limit of what you can take. This is only 1/3 of my Kai. Most of the genin looked at him in fear until a boot came flying through the air and hit him straight on. Everyone turned to look at Marino Ibiki as he glared at Naruto. Haddock. Cut that out. I don't want you mentally scarring the new blood this early. Many genin smiled appreciatively before pausing when he spoke again. Before I can. This made most of the people sweat drop at the scarred interrogator before noticing that the pressure had disappeared. Sorry Scarface-chan, I got carried away, Naruto said. He glared one last time at the shaking Iwa team before sighing and listening to Ibiki. Alright, Magus. Now you'll have a test to examine your knowledge. We can't have morons parading about as Shunin, Naruto whispered to Kiba. Then what are Kotetsu and Izumo doing here? Kiba snickered. After explaining the rules and taking their seats, the exam started. Naruto read the test over. I see what I mean, test, he thought as he instantly saw through it. He cast an intricate genjutsu with his hands under his table and then activated his Sharingan. He located a Chunin in disguise and copied him. He then activated second part of his master plan called Screw everyone over with your totally awesome cheating abilities. Yeah, I know he likes long names. Telepathy technique, Naruto whispered as he reached out with his chakra and connected with the people he wanted to affect. Smiling as he felt the familiar chakra of Hinata, Kiba, and Shino. He closed his eyes and focused on them. Hey you guys, it's me, Naruto. Don't freak out. I'm speaking to you through our chakra. Listen, all of these questions are way too hard for any genin except Sakura to answer. This is without a doubt an information gathering test. We need to use our special skills to gather info from the Chunin placed around the room. Normally I'd give you the answers, but look at this as another one of your tests from me. Now snap to it. Teammate immediately initiated a plan. Screw everyone over with your totally awesome cheating abilities. Naruto noted that many of the other genin have finally realized what the test was about. His experienced eyes darted around the room as he watched the other ninjas. When the allotted time was over, Ibiki spoke up. Alright Magus, now it's time for the 10th and final question. Ibiki explained the rules. Needless to say, most of the ninjas were shocked. What the hell? This is ridiculous. There are guys here who's on their 2nd and 3rd year. Hell, even their 4th. Ibiki chuckled in a very maniacal way. That might be. But this year it's my exam and my rules. Silence befell the classroom as many people started raising their hands. I quit. Sorry guys. I can't do this. Suddenly the 150 genin had been reduced to 75. Ibiki smiled. The rest were still nervous, and many of them were shaking, trying to hold back the urge to quit. Then he noticed Naruto, and instantly his cold, superior interrogator mask fell in favor of an annoyed one. Haddock. What the hell are you doing? Everyone turned to see Naruto slumped across his table sleeping. Ibiki had a huge tick mark at the back of his head as he searched for something sharp to throw at Naruto. When he couldn't find anything, he settled for throwing his chalk. Right before it would have hit him, Naruto waved his hand, and the chalk was sliced to dust before reaching its target. As if to insult him further, Naruto yawned loudly. Sup Scarface-chan? He asked, annoyed that he'd been woken up. Ibiki just stared dumbfounded at him. You little brat. I'm in the middle of explaining the 10th question. Ibiki roared as everyone's sweat dropped. Naruto sighed annoyed as he waved Ibiki off. Yeah, that's nice. Now would you be quiet? I mean seriously. Even if we don't become Chunin, we can advance to Jounin just as easily. Besides, I think I'm gonna aim for the Hokage title. You know, to rub it in everyone's faces. So not becoming Chunin wouldn't really be that much of a blow to me. Oh. It would be funny to kick Jounin ass, as a genin anyway. Naruto said offhandedly. The effect was instantaneous. The people who'd been unsure of what to do were now smiling confidently at each other. Ibiki smiled amusedly. This brat wiped away all of their worries just like that, huh? It seems this year will be interesting. Alright then, your ejects you all pass, he said with a huge smile. Everyone's sweat dropped as they thought collectively. His personality totally changed. What the hell is this? Just like that, Sakura screamed in surprise. Ibiki explained the reasons and the meaning behind the 10th question. Suddenly he perked up as a black thing attached to 4 kunai crashed through the window. The kunai spread out in the room, revealing it to be a banner reading. The examiner of the 2nd test. Sexy snake Mr. Smitarashi Anko. A loud thud was heard on the wall just outside the window, and then a female voice screaming. Oh my god. My nose. Damn it, that hurts like hell. Everyone's sweat dropped as Anko crawled through the window with the imprint of a wall on her face. She was grumbling about stupid exams and retarded classroom locations. She looked around and glared at everyone and everything before speaking. Training ground 44. Follow me now. Speak, and I'll gut you. And with that she jumped through the window. Everyone was left staring at the place where she left before they scrambled and ran full power to try and keep up with her. Naruto sighed as he stood from his seat and Shino, Kiba, and Hinata approached him. Space warped around them as they were sucked into his Kanpeki Sharingan. Enko had just arrived at the training ground when she saw the space rift, and then teammate appeared from within it. She could have sworn that one of the kids' eyes were red, but when she looked again she saw only blue and green. Shaking her head she turned back and waited for the rest to arrive. Once they did, they noticed that Naruto's team was already there. Ibiki collected the exam papers as he reached Naruto's. The hell is this? He thought out loud as he read the note. Dear Scarface-chan. I just wanted to tell you that Yakushi Kabuto has the stench of snakes all over him. The same kind as that man you might want to tell the Hokage. For now it would be best if you didn't tell Anko-chan about it, she'd freak. Love. Haddock Naruto. P.S. You seriously need to get laid. Ibiki crushed the note in his hand as he left to report to the Hokage. People jumped left and right to avoid him as he had a tick mark the size of the Hokage tower and a dark and very scary aura was coming off of him. Enko sighed when everyone arrived as she explained the rules. She noticed Naruto wasn't paying attention, and in annoyance, she threw a kunai at him before appearing behind him and grabbing the kunai. She would have cut his cheek if it wasn't for the water that sprouted out of nowhere and formed a barrier in between them. Everyone started not believing what they'd seen. Had he just pulled water out of nowhere? Enko glared at him as he smiled innocently back. She jumped back to make some distance. That was unexpected. Seems like you aren't just a cute face, eh boy? She asked as she smiled at him. He stared back. Rapist. He deadpanned as she yelled at him. The hell is that supposed to mean? Calming herself down she finished the explanation and gestured for each team to grab a scroll. Naruto examined their heaven scroll as he looked over his 3 teammates plus 1 dog. All of them seemed nervous. Kiba's usually loud and confident personality was gone. Hinata was showing signs of insecurity again, and even Shino couldn't hold his impassive mask much longer. Naruto smiled at them. Listen to all of you. We're gonna make it through this. All of you are strong. You've grown way much since we became a team, Kurenai-sensei said so, as well. As long as we stick together we're gonna be fine. Besides I don't let my comrades die alright. He finished with a smile. They all smiled back at him, their confidence restored. They shifted their attention to Anko. And with that I hereby begin the second test. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing.